If you wanted to defeat a testing regime built to find motors inside bicycle frames, the elegant answer is not a better motor. It is to stop putting anything in the frame. That is the idea behind the systems, usually called magic wheels, magnets set into a deep section carbon rim, driven by an electromagnetic field, so that the force is applied out at the wheel and the frame stays empty. This video treats that story with the skepticism it deserves, because the sourcing is genuinely thin and the reporting that broke it was itself doubtful. But it also does something most retellings do not, which is take seriously the one piece of hard evidence that does exist. A physical example of this technology has been examined by an independent research institute in Germany. It was photographed from the inside, and what that examination found is more interesting than either the believers or the debunkers usually admit. Start with the claims and with where they come from, because provenance is everything here. The reporting traces back to the Italian newspaper Gazzetta dello Sport, citing an unnamed source, relayed into English by the cycling site road.cc, whose own writer said plainly that he doubted the plausibility of what he was passing on. That is the chain: an anonymous source, an Italian report, and an English write-up that came with a health warning attached from the journalist writing it. From that chain come the numbers everybody quotes: a cost of around 200,000 euros, a waiting list of 6 months, an output of somewhere between 20 and 60 watts, with the source quoted as saying you do not need too much power or too much torque, and that 50 to 60 watts is more than enough. The same reporting claimed that 1,200 conventional seat tube units had been sold in Italy. Every one of those figures is an unverified claim from an unnamed person. Not one has ever been confirmed by a manufacturer, a spec sheet, an invoice, or a patent. There is no product page for this thing. There is no patent anywhere for an electromagnetic rim drive. Repeat those numbers if you like, but repeat them with the label attached. Now, the correction that almost every version of this story gets backwards. People assume the magic wheel is the more powerful device, the escalation, the next generation. The reported figures say the opposite. 20 to 60 watts is dramatically less than the roughly 100 watts a commercially available seat tube motor delivers. If these systems exist, they are not about speed, they are about detectability. That is worth dwelling on, because it inverts how people instinctively think about cheating. The usual assumption is that a cheat wants the biggest possible advantage, but a rider using a concealed device does not actually want the biggest number. 100 watts appearing from nowhere on a climb is conspicuous. It produces a performance that does not fit the athlete, and performances that do not fit the athlete are, as this sport has repeatedly demonstrated, the thing that gets people investigated. 50 watts is different. 50 watts does not look like a miracle. It looks like a good day. It is the difference between finishing in the group and finishing just off the front, and nobody launches an inquiry into a rider who was slightly better than expected. A weaker device that cannot be found beats a stronger device that can. That logic is why anybody would bother building this at all. And here is where the popular version has to be corrected a second time, because this is the detail that changes the whole argument. It is usually said that the beauty of the wheel system is that it leaves the frame completely clean, so a rider could swap a wheel at the team car in seconds and carry nothing incriminating at all. The technical reporting does not support that. The more detailed accounts describe neodymium magnets set into the rim, which are driven by electromagnets mounted in the frame, in the chainstays or seat stays, powered by a battery. In that architecture, the frame is not clean at all. It contains coils and a power source, and the wheel is only half the system. There is a competing account from the Hungarian engineer most associated with these claims, István Varjas, who showed American television a wheel with small magnets concealed inside the rim, and describes the coils and the battery as living in the wheel itself. That version would leave the frame genuinely empty. He has also offered a rule of thumb for finding one, which is worth repeating because it is the only practical test anybody has proposed. Weigh the rear wheel. His claim is that a wheel containing a system of this kind will be at least 800 grams heavier than the manufacturer's published weight for that model. If it is, take it apart. Note what that is and is not. It is a detection heuristic offered by an interested party. It is not a published specification of the device, and it has never been used to find one. The sources disagree, and that disagreement is not a detail to be smoothed over. It is the honest state of the evidence. Nobody outside the small circle making these claims can say with confidence where the working parts of this device are supposed to live, which tells you how far this is from being documented technology. So much for the claims. Now the hard evidence, and there is some. In September of 2017, journalists working with French, Italian, and German broadcasters obtained a physical electromagnetic induction wheel, not a description, an object. They took it to the Fraunhofer Institute for Non-Destructive Testing in Germany, a real research institution whose entire business is examining objects without cutting them open, and had it tested by its vice director. Two things came out of that examination. The first is that the sport's own detection method failed completely. When the magnetic resonance tablet was used on the wheel fitted with the induction motor, no field was detected around it at all. The device the governing body relies on to find concealed propulsion looked at this one and saw an ordinary wheel. The second is that a different method worked immediately. An X-ray of the same wheel showed the induction plates and the transmission cables inside it, described as perfectly hidden by the carbon. Those two results together are the most important facts in this entire subject, and they need to be stated precisely, because they are constantly overstated in both directions. This was a detectability test. It establishes that an object of this kind physically exists, that it can be built into a wheel, that the tablet cannot see it, and that an X-ray can. It was not a performance test. Nobody measured what the wheel actually does. The 20 to 60 watt figure remains exactly what it was, an unverified claim from an anonymous source. As far as the public record goes, no independent party has ever quantified the output of one of these systems. The governing body rejected the report, and its response deserves to be heard. It said the tablet had proved highly effective in both laboratory testing and actual use. It pointed out that the people operating the scanner in that report had received no training. It stressed that the tablet is used for initial controls only, and that any suspicion triggers physical dismantling of the bicycle. And it cited independent laboratory work in which the scanner found a hidden motor in every scan. Those are fair points, particularly the one about training. But notice what the rebuttal does not contain. At no stage does it claim the tablet detects an electromagnetic wheel. If you want the documented record on this subject rather than the rumor, subscribe to the Peloton Files. So where does that leave the magic wheel? It is not a myth. An object exists, and a German research institute has the images to prove it. It is not established technology either. Its price, its power output, its availability, and its supposed customers all rest on a single anonymous source relayed through two newspapers. Its own advocates cannot agree on where the coils go. It has no patent, no manufacturer, and no spec sheet. And in the 10 years this story has been circulating, not one of these wheels has ever been found on a professional rider's bicycle. Not in a race, not in a team truck, not anywhere. The claim that it is undetectable is the one part that has actually been tested, and it turned out to be half true. Undetectable by the tablet, yes. Undetectable by an X-ray, no, not at all. Which means the honest summary is uncomfortable for everybody. The sport's primary scanner has a documented blind spot, and the thing that fits in it has never once been found.